Have you ever felt the feeling of shame? That quiet ache in your chest when you think you've done something wrong, even when you haven't? I'm Jeanne, a nurse and your emotional healing guide. And today, we're going to talk about shame, the quiet, invisible weight so many of us carry without even realizing it. But the truth is, shame, it's not yours to carry. If you ever felt like you were too much, not enough, or that something was wrong with you just for having emotions, this video is for you. We're not going to relive the shame. We're going to listen to your body, to your truth, to the part of you that knows you were never broken to begin with. So take a breath and settle in. This is your space to feel, to release, and to reclaim. There are things you were made to feel ashamed of that were never yours. The way your body looked, the way your voice sounded, the tears you cried when no one comforted you, the anger you weren't allowed to express, or the confusion that came when people you trusted hurt you. Shame often takes root in silence, in the moments where you needed someone to say, "This wasn't your fault," and no one did. Instead, you were left to carry the weight alone. You internalized what others projected. You believed what was never true, that you were too much, too emotional, too sensitive, too loud, too quiet, too broken, or too complicated. But shame doesn't start with you. It's planted by others and nurtured by silence. It grows in the places where your pain was ignored and your truth was dismissed. The body remembers, not just the events, but the feeling of having to carry it all quietly, of shrinking so you wouldn't take up too much space, of smiling when it hurt, of being good so you wouldn't be abandoned. Shame thrives in that gap between who you are and who you thought you had to be. But here's the truth. You were never the problem. You were responding to pain, to chaos, to unmet needs, to survival. What you adapted to is not a reflection of your worth. What you hid to stay safe is not a measure of your value. What you carried was never yours to begin with. So let's begin by saying, this feeling doesn't belong to me. This weight is not mine to carry. This story isn't mine to keep. We trace where the shame began, not to dwell there, but to see it clearly, so we can return to it, so we can come back to the truth and stand in our bodies without bracing. Shame cannot survive the light. It can't survive your presence and your breath or your love. If you feel like it, place one hand on your heart and breathe into that part of you that has felt small, that has felt wrong, that has felt like a burden. Whisper to that part, you didn't do anything wrong. You are not too much. You deserve tenderness. You are allowed to be safe. This is not a quick fix. This is not a mindset trick. This is a return to dignity, to the sacred truth beneath the conditioning, to the wholeness beneath the wound. Shame is a story your nervous system learned to protect you. But you can learn a new story, one that makes space for softness, one that honors your truth, one where your sensitivity is not a liability, but a compass where your voice is respected, where your body is safe, and where your presence is enough. You don't have to keep rehearsing what others made you believe, and you don't have to keep proving your worth. You don't have to keep apologizing for being who you are. You get to unlearn what was never yours. You get to release the rules that kept you small. And you get to return to yourself. The truth is, your emotion, it's not a flaw. It's your doorway to healing and the place where your light lives. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Let that sink in. Let that rise. Let that shake off the dust in places that have been quiet for too long. You may not even realize how long you've carried shame because it hides in so many places. In the hesitation before you speak, in the way you apologize when you've done nothing wrong, in the way you shrink your needs to make room for someone else's comfort. It shows up in your posture, in your breath, in your silence, and in the moments when your body tightens and your voice fades, in the way you over-explain, over-give, and over-function, all just to prove that you were good. But you were already good, even when you didn't feel like it, even when you were messy, confused, loud, angry, or grieving. You were good, and you still are. Breathe that in and exhale as if it is your truth. Let that be what you anchor into today, not the voice of shame, not the stories passed down, not the false narratives of worth, but the simple, unwavering truth. You are not the shame that was handed to you. You're not the silence that surrounded it, and you're definitely not the small version of yourself you had to become to survive. You're allowed to expand, to speak, to soften, and to release. You may have learned shame early, but you can unlearn it now. You can hold that small part of you who thought she had to be perfect, and you can tell her, I'm here now. You don't have to carry this anymore. This work is gentle, honest, grounded, and true. And it is enough. You are enough. You've always been enough. With all of your feelings, with the truth rising up from the inside, say, I am done carrying shame. You don't have to earn your wholeness. You just have to return to it and let shame know it has no place living inside you anymore. Not in your body, not in your breath, and not in your story. Let this be the day you come home to yourself and close the door on shame forever. You are free. Say it out loud. I am free. I am free. I am free. Let that sink in. You've done good work. Join us tomorrow, where we'll talk about grief, the response to absence, to change, or to something sacred that was taken away. If you're enjoying healing your emotions, click on the link below and subscribe to my channel for more. And as always, make it a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.